August? Is it the 2nd? Let's have a look. I believe it's the 2nd of August, yeah, okay. So I hope you're good. I'm going to call this one tonight. Apologies for the time, I've had a few technical challenges, but I'm winning. So yeah, we're okay. COVIDsation. It's just going to be a case of, I'm going to try Twitch as well to see if I have any joy with that. Joe Rogan's got COVID, I know.
But maybe this.
It's a thing. Let's have a look. Can I go live on? I'm going to attempt to go live on let's get this going as well. Bear with me. Okay. See if I can get this thing going. Fingers crossed. Got off to a great start. Let's see. Try that again. Typical.
You guys ask some ridiculous questions. So what's that after Twitch contract?
Okay, let's try again. Okay. Right, I'm going to try this one more time. I'm going to block that camera for a second. Hold on. It's always fun and games getting these two. Okay, we're good, we're live on Twitch as well. Just gotta always have to fool around a little bit with positioning and my chair and that phone and that phone. So I'm using my Android phone for Twitch and my iOS device for, right. So look, we're okay. I know I've had my hand across the screen and all sorts, but all right. So the episode tonight, I'm calling it COVIDsation. Self-explanatory title, really, because it's obviously been whapped. My personal understanding of WAP, I've mentioned it numerous times. It's not a. I don't like to compartmentalise it with the popular Cardi B song, but I'd rather use the acronym WAP to describe everything else that falls into the or under the purview of political nonsense. In other words, WAP means weaponized and politicized. My own acronym there for a preposterous. Yeah, I was going to move that camera a bit more. I'll get there. By Jove, I'll get there. It's just a case of, the good thing is there's no one really here yet that's going to see this, so it's okay if I just cock around with that cam. There you go. There you go. Take this opportunity, Justin, to get your camera. That's more like it. All right, happy with that. That's better. That's better. Okay, enough camera blocking. All right. TrueHouse stream 407, the COVIDsation. I can change my channel name on Twitch, because I'm Justin House, TrueHouse, and the channel name on Twitch is Justin TrueHouse, which I probably decided on that because it's what's available, who knows. But I'm currently blocked from Instagram, and it is what it is. But look, we'll go with this as a working title tonight. So welcome, I do appreciate you being here. 4 hours ago, or well, depending on your time zone, so the mighty Joe Rogan, anyone that's familiar with Joe Rogan, I know he announced it via his Instagram, his Insta feed, that he's got COVID. What's so preposterous about and that's why I've called it the COVIDsation, which has been obviously weaponised and politicised, it's divisive and daft, and finger pointing, and let's just split apart friends, families, colleagues, and just be complete dickheads about it. It doesn't, well, look, as far as I'm concerned, it shouldn't matter where you stand on COVID. If you're, it's the terminology, it's the viciousness, it's the spite, the second class citizen, the thing that this has been exaggerated and poisoned by so many in the media that refer to people that haven't been vaccinated as literally second class citizens, and I think this sort of bullshit. You shouldn't. It's like that. There was always just what I call vax holes, people behaving as in an arsehole, but just because you're not being vaccinated. At the end of the day, this was irresponsibly sold to us. Whether you're a fan of Fauci or not, you've got a little man coming on the screen called Fauci. It would have been a lot better, and I'm not alone in thinking this, it would have been a lot better if they, as in the government, would have had the balls and the decency to come on to, and this is obviously here in the UK, here in England, and over, you guys, my American friends, this bloody thing does slip. If they just had the decency to come on and say to us all, sorry Twitch, let me get a bit more there, and just say to us, look guys, we don't know. And the problem is, we're living in a society where words like I don't know or we don't know, let me move that camera back a bit, words like I don't know or that's better, or permission to die. Because what I find absurd here is that pre-COVID, humans are born to live and then to die. I'm being very rhetorical, but everyone has a lifespan. And there seems to be this lack of permission to die. It's like, well, hang on a minute. So what, did anyone die of anything pre-COVID? It's like, let's change it. Let's abbreviate this to PC, pre-COVID. And I find the medical community, particularly the government, the grey suits in Westminster here in London and Washington over there. So let's just portmanteau those two words and call it Washminster or Westington, whatever you want to call it. But our UK government and your US government, full of shit. It would have been better for Gen Pop civilization to receive a message that would go something like this. And I'm no bloody politician, but I'm just talking as a human frickin' being. Wouldn't it have been nicer, for all of our sakes, if when this all kicked off 18, 20 months ago, because I've been isolating because of my medical stuff since the 9th of March last year. But I'm a single guy, I'm a hermit, I live alone anyway, I don't see anyone, I've got no wife, no kids, no family, nothing. So it was no great ask for me to personally remove myself at a societal level. It's not, like I say, I repeat myself, I'm a 49-year-old guy. I know it sounds bloody sad, but that's partly obviously the last 15 years with my medical challenges has meant that it's a chunk of my life since being a 34-year-old. So I've gone from 34 to 49, bang, the last 15 years, you know, obviously with the things I've had. And I know I've mentioned them numerous times on the stream. We're episode 407 tonight, but everything from nearly losing my right leg, to the spine cancer, to the heart attacks, to the years on dialysis, the kidney transplant, obviously. That's what got me off dialysis at the 4th year, and multiple bouts of pneumonia and sepsis, hepatosplenomegaly, thrombocytopenia, chronically low platelet, that's thrombocytopenia. But the heavy hitters were the spine cancer, the heart attacks, the kidney failure, dialysis, transplant, that sort of thing, and of course almost losing the leg. So these were the things that were life altering. And so I've just gone from 34 to 49, bang, and it's like, shit, that was a chunk out of my life where had the Justin script been, in my third, I'm not gonna, it sounds like I'm talking shit now, but yes, I think in my mind's eye, if I'm honest with myself, everyone has fun from sort of 15 to 30, don't they? Or, you damn well should do, from 18 skateboarding, getting out of my teens and discovering 20 and girls and going out, and then into my sort of 35. I was like, right, now it's time to just, come on mate, you make a life. But then of course my health went, and that was it. So the crux of what I'm saying is, yes, 15 years has been effectively, so I find myself in a position now, along comes COVID, and it was no great shakes for me because I wasn't living a life. I do apologise for that sliding camera. It is the clamp on the back of the phone. I'm just going to try and endeavour to tighten up if I can a bit and give you guys a better. You don't want it getting it close to my face, do you? Right, I should just monitor that. I should monitor that accordingly. Try and put myself sort of here. But yeah, it's for me to self-isolate from the 9th of March last year hasn't felt like a great ask. I won't lie, I've had some dark days, but I do go outside every single day, rain or shine, and I just walk. I've got where I live in the south of England. I can be at the beach in 30 minutes. I can be in wonderful forest and woodlands in 15 minutes. So typically speaking, just for mental and physical health, I get myself outside. I've lost 70 pounds in body weight, and which is a good thing. So I'm diabetic now, of course, as well. I've got to add the diabetes thing, but that's just control of metformin. That's not insulin control. That's good. My sort of talking points tonight are, I appreciate that everyone's COVID story is different. You're not going to have 100 people that, like nodding dogs, are going to go, yeah, me too with COVID. If you're a family person, if you're a child, and this is a comment that Tim Pool made the other day, whether you guys like Tim Pool or not. Tim Pool's okay. He's a little bit of a douche, but fair play to him, he's done well. I just wish Tim Pool would actually yield in a sentence, because my idea of in fact I wrote this today to Tim in a comment, not that he's going to read it. If you look at Timcast IRL in real life, he runs roughshod over his guests. Now I would not dare have a guest on and then not allow them to speak. And I think it could be a little bit of ADHD, it could be a little bit of ego. What tends to happen, and this is what Joe Rogan doesn't do, when you're speaking to a person, specifically, particularly in these times now, where the sort of main threads of conversation are, if we're not talking Afghanistan, we're talking about COVID, really sort of political hot potatoes, and you talk over your guest, or he's almost got like a Tourette's, where he will, two talking heads, the guest makes a point, and your cadence in the conversation and the tempo in the conversation, you should be prepared at any time to edit, curate, wind down your bloody ego, and actually not blurt out the sentence you were just literally biding your time to speak. So, and I put this in a comment, and I feel very strongly about this, because if I was having a conversation with anyone and they had a sentence of such significance that it actually negated the need for me to say what I was dying to say, then don't say it. If it's not going to add to, reinforce, or it's, you know, it's a point of conjecture and you want to push back, fine. But I don't like the point scoring system of conversation, and I do despair, again, particularly in the times that we find ourselves, guys, and that's why I've really done that little sort of portmanteau, you know, to a word merge tonight of the COVIDsation, as in the conversation, because it's such a fueled chat at the moment, and it's we don't need to be absolutists about this. And going back to my earlier point, I really, and I mean this, I really wish somebody or a body of people, a government, centralised or otherwise, had the decency to step forward to the microphone and say, guys, we the scientists, we the medical community, you know, whether it be the World Health Organization, Centre for Disease Control, whoever, wouldn't it have been better for all concerned globally? Just imagine this, if a Fauci has said, please bear with us, this has taken us by surprise, you know, your government, we don't have all the answers, we have your best in, I mean, he literally, whether it was Trump or Biden or Fauci, you know, put in whichever suit was there, and if they'd had the decency to simply say, rest assured, we are here to protect you, rest assured, we are here to give you up-to-the-minute information. Do not fear and do not be surprised if what we say to you on a Friday becomes invalid or changed or enhanced or rerouted on Monday morning. That's all they had to say, because now they're accused of flip-flopping, and rightfully so. I have little to no faith in our UK government and your US government, and I really freaking mean that, because too many times we have had, yeah, wishful thinking, no government has the fortitude. I know, dude, I know, but it is wishful thinking, and maybe, I appreciate your comment, and maybe I am being naive, and, well, I probably am being naive, and wishing for because dude, it's how we would behave. That's the crazy thing, and I mean this. I bloody mean it. If I was sat round a campfire, I shit you not. I mean, this is how. I mean, for Christ's sake, I find the level of immaturity is what makes me despair. You know, I'm a 49-year-old male, and thank God I haven't got kids, because you can't say to your kids with hand on heart, look at our government, look at our well-behaved, well thought out, you know, it's, if I was in open woods with utter strangers or with whatever, I would not say, yep, you know, I am just laying it down here, I know everything, you know, sort of, you it's almost like an omnipotent, it's on, well, we're into the realms of sort of demagoguery, isn't it? And therein lies the problem. And I do chuckle at a lot of the expressions, you know, live action role playing, I call them LARParians, LARPing, and of course, you know, the ideology, I call them left ideologues, because, you know, I know that you can have an ideology in anything, right or left, whatever your political leanings, but I know I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone in wishing, and there's still time, because surely now, whether it was our English Boris Johnson or your Biden, if they just had, and this can be Afghanistan, this could be COVID, if they simply looked in, you know, literally fourth wall, down the lens of the camera, my theory is the natural leader should be the most, exactly, yes, dude, a benevolent leader. I totally agree with what you're saying, my friend. I hate that. Whenever I touch the screen, it just remember to guard your privacy. Yeah, I know. Hang on, live all chat. Yeah, well, why? I'm not going to mess with it too much, but your comments are coming up. Privacy guidelines, community guide. But it would just be, wouldn't it be a wonderful day? And yeah, it is wishful thinking. Looking at some of the comments you've said, I think we think in a similar way, which is encouraging. It is encouraging actually when I find people online that I don't otherwise know who, and it sounds like an egotistical statement from me in a way, but I just, I remember being at school and the basic principle was don't gob off, don't speak to things that you don't. I mean, we learned this in the playground, guys, because I remember very visceral, vivid memories of being a kid, little young 10-year-old Justin, and going wow, 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 and just getting a face full, getting ironed out on getting laid out, and it's almost like we've become over civilized. And I'm not saying it's good to go around, condoning violence and smacking people in the face, but I do actually believe that there's many people in this society. Again, the caveat being, I'm not saying yes, go around punching people. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is there seems to be an ever increasing number of individuals, often very well, maybe Tim Pool is quite a good example of that actually. Like there's an observational limit in me, and I'm talking through a screen. And what I mean by this is that I've known violence enough in my life. And don't worry, I'm not going to go on some tirade about how fighting's really cool, because fighting is not cool. Far from it. But I've been involved in enough situations in my life to know that there's nothing pleasant at all about losing, being beaten up, being hit in the face, having broken noses, losing teeth, being knocked unconscious, etc., etc., etc. So again, I'm not condoning it, but I believe there's an ever increasing number of young men and women, specifically young men, 25, 35, 45-year-old blokes, and you take one look at them, or you listen to them like this, in this format for 30 seconds, and you make a mental note, and that mental note is this: you've not been hit in the face, mate. And that sounds like a real guy. Oh, well done, Justin. What you're saying, mate. You go around hitting people. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying there's a known quantity. There's a known quantity that it is palpable. You can see it. You can feel it. This could be a Boris Johnson. This could be a Biden. It's certainly a Fauci. It's certainly a Fauci, because no human would present themselves at that level of public arena and go bullshit, 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 offensive, 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 literally in any other strata of life, any other sphere of society, would result in that individual getting fucking ironed out. Excuse my language, but it is true. And you look at me and think, you've not been knocked out, you've not lost, you've not been beaten up, because what those things do give you is humility. They teach you humility. And I got my ass handed to me. We're stuck in a minefield. I hate that when it goes. Oh, here we go. You're in Burma. We're stuck in a minefield. You've walked into it before. You're the most qualified. You're the leader. Then we come to a river and you can't swim, but I can. Roles reversed. I like that. That's very good actually. Then we come to a river and you can't swim, but I can. Roles reversed. You see, that's interesting. That's almost like that's beautiful. That reminds me of it's almost fable, like Aesop's fables, or the scorpion and the frog, or whatever. But yeah, you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, you're describing community. You're describing community help. You're describing how, frankly, we should be propping each other up. We should be fortifying one another. Exactly. Yeah. No, thank you. And I just wish people would exercise more humility, because if someone comes to me and goes, hang on, Justin, what about this? You won't catch me going, oh no, mate, fuck off, I know best. You won't catch me doing that, because that's not how my mind operates. If someone comes to me and says, but Justin, have you considered this, mate? I'll be like, ooh, go on. Do you know what I mean? Because I want to learn. I think it's what I get. Yeah, of course. Our uncle Jordan B. Peterson. Look, again, I'm going to go on a bit of a rant now, but I despair, my friend. I despair at the attacking of that man. It's probably not really the right time to get into it, but again, for over 25 years of my life, I knew real addiction. Okay, and that'll keep you humble. So from the mid 90s, going from, if you must know, is morphine-based analgesia, a very powerful drug called nalbuphine hydrochloride, or trade name Nubane, which was very prolific in the bodybuilding. Well, it was completely ubiquitous in the bodybuilding community. So that was the first, bit of self-sabotage. And of course, that type of morphine-based analgesia leads to more opiates. So you're now into OxyContin, Oxynorm, which is under the banner of oxycodone. And that obviously goes into the other lot, which is your benzodiazepines, your Valium, etc. And that leads me to Jordan Peterson, because it's whether we're all talking about coffee or nicotine or chocolate or whatever your hook is, and obviously we're talking various degrees of evil here, because in my younger days when I was a smoker, look, let's just say this. In my own personal experience, stopping chocolate, ice cream, cigarettes, cocaine, sex, whatever, cessation, abstinence of those things for me was not a biggie. But real abstinence from benzos, Jordan Peterson, yes I do. He's a lovely human being. What a lovely kind. What's that book he's done? Not say is it Sapiens or shoot, I've got some of his books on Audible, my friend. A very calming, lovely man. And his cadence when he was on Rogan. I've actually had a few back and forth tweets. Cigarette. Well, is that exact? Interesting, isn't it interesting? Everyone, and I never. Again, I'm not one of those pricks that takes. Well, I did a little bit then, really, but takes pot shots in chocolate. Exactly. Well, do you know what I've learned? I've learned that there's three types. There's obsession, addiction, and compulsion. This is just my own little my own little scale, if you like. My own Dante's Inferno. The night. No, I won't go into it. But you can. This is just my own little reasoning. I could obsess all day long about having Haagen-Dazs chocolate and watching Netflix and having just an orgy of slippery sex with a bevy of beauties, just lovely young women. That's obsession. It can be a fiction. You can fictionalize that, and you can be like, oh, Justin, you're obsessed. You're mental. You just get over it. And then you can be addicted. And an addiction can, as you know, whether it's cigarettes or booze or coffee, whatever, and the scale of that sort of transition, isn't it? So it's like I think of a half pipe, of evil, and obviously the first place for me personally, opioids, opiates, benzodiazepines, exceedingly hard to rid myself of. Many years, and for me, cold turkey, it's very no worries. I'm just glad to see you pop in. Thank you for coming in. Do come back. It's always I'm very glad when you arrive, because you're one of those rare people that says brilliant and sensible and interesting and intelligible things. So thank you. Hope to see you soon. Thank you. But yeah, it's you can. obsess or be addicted, and the scariest one is compulsion. Now, I'm only using this to highlight my point, but and it's a radical example. But if you're talking, are you compelled to do something? Well, what would be the worst example of compulsion? Oh, you're Ted Bundy and you are compelled to kill. You know, I mean, it's a horrible thing to highlight my point, but it's an awful example, in fact. But that's the scale, isn't it? And I'm no psychologist. I'm just a bloke, but that's how I reason with obsession, addiction, and compulsion. And I spent many years battling, these prescription painkillers and analgesics. And the reason I mentioned Jordan B. Peterson, it has no social preferences, So when we're talking about the chemical structure of a drug that can literally envelop and trap and imprison a human, there is no, well, I've come from a good background, I'll be fine, or I've come from the streets, I'll rough it out. No, it doesn't matter who you are. It does not matter what your makeup is, what your constitution is, what you've been fortified with. If you get properly, and I don't mean like a light little weekend habit, I mean properly down the road of real physiological dependency, mental, physical, spiritual, emotional addiction to the point where you can't function. So when someone says to me, oh, I'm addicted to that, I ask them a very serious question. I go, right, so how many hours can you go before you're shockingly ill? Because real addiction, actual addiction at an anatomical level, means that you have to take that substance just to stay well. And that could be a benzo, it can be alcohol. Alcohol is no joke. I've watched people in hospital beds opposite me on wards die from alcoholism. That's no joke. I've forgotten the acronym now. When they shake the DVTs, stands for damn it. Anyway, it's a nervous shake they get, but there's I won't go too deep into this, but there's various, I'm not qualified, there's various things that, look, when you're coming off an opiate / opioid, benzodiazepine, you'll feel very, 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 very poorly. Very poorly. I've got a lot of experience with this. Versus the cessation from alcohol can cause, look, one thing I am qualified to say from being in it, utter, complete endpoint abstinence / abrupt cessation from alcohol and benzodiazepines. I'm talking Valium, diazepam, etc. These things can stop your life. Yeah, you can cease to live. No joke. And I'm going to make a general statement now. Generally speaking, when you're coming off the opioids, you'll be horrifically unwell, but you won't actually die. You'll feel like it, but you won't die. So there's a difference between extremely unpleasant and actually dying. Yeah? So I always say, do seek real medical advice. I'm not a doctor, but I am giving you lived, very painful, anecdotal experience. So when I speak on this live stream about the things that my body, not just, I fancy a bit of that, no, I'm talking about man-made substances that I've gotten so far down the road with prescription meds where if I go 6, 8 hours, God forbid 10, 12 hours without said item, I become deathly sick. Just walking down the street, bang, diarrhea, bursting out crying, vomiting, etc. Daylight hallucination. So all I will say is I have known the pain of trying to cease and be free of these substances. So it's with that, I'm going to move on back to the COVID, but with that, that's why you'll never catch me mocking Jordan Peterson, because it really offended me how cruel people were to Jordan Peterson. So, oh, you're Dr. Jordan B. Peterson, you're Professor Peterson, you know, how dare you be addicted to benzodiazepine? Doesn't it show you, or benzodiazepines, doesn't it show you that these man-made substances take no, do you know what I mean? There's no sort of social hierarchy. Well, we'll make sure this man doesn't get addicted because he's Jordan Peterson. No, it just shows it can take anyone. So don't, excuse my French, but don't fuck about, you know, don't. And yeah, I've known what it's like to live a life of extraordinary compulsion, addiction, and just, you know, you're a prisoner. You will become master of the half-truth. So everything that leaves your mouth isn't a complete lie, but it's a half-truth. It's not a good place to be, I'm telling you. It's not cool. So I'm just making sure that camera's all right. I do feel bad for my Twitch, although there is someone watching me on Twitch, which I'm very grateful for. Thank you. I like Twitch. I'm going to try and change my name tonight to TrueHouse Stream. So it's TrueHouse Stream across the board. Justin TrueHouse, a bit like Justin Trudeau, isn't it? So guys, I just want to say, it is naive wishful thinking on my part, it is, but I'm at a point, and I think you guys, I suspect you guys might be too, whereby you're literally pulling your, if I had hair I'd pull it out, you're at a point of despair when the people that we look to on our screens for expert advice, for impartial, objective, pragmatic truth, an undiluted, non-partisan delivery of measurable facts. And I've dozens of times on this stream I've used what my immediate bits to demonstrably prove my point. You know, if I said to any eyes watching me, am I wearing a blue baseball cap with a blue t-shirt, you'd have to say yes, mate. You know, only a real dickhead would go, well, it's kind of off purple there, just. It's kind of like, it's not really grey, but it's kind of, you know, look, I'm wearing a blue t-shirt and a blue hat, shut up. You know, if you had to describe me, like, describe the face. It's a white bloke, middle-aged white bloke with a blue hat and a blue t-shirt. Boom, there you go. You know, that's where we should be at, and that's why I use such you know, really painfully obvious. You know, am I wearing bracelets? Yes, he's got wrist bracelets on. You know, he's an ugly bastard with a goatee. He's a white bloke with a blue hat and a blue t-shirt on. That's your suspect. Talking into a black microphone. These are visual cues that we should, for the love of God, we should be able to, at a level of osmosis, you know, can we absorb, can we osmotically, and again, you'll always hear me refer to this as through the medium of screens, you know, whether it's a phone screen, a tablet, or a monitor, TV screen, you know, that's what the majority of us are using as a thing, as a format. You know, how are we getting our diet of information, of conversation, of, you know, so look, I've always God, this is really enjoyable tonight, actually. So some nights I do this and I just, you know, I can't lie on this live stream. That's why it's called TrueHouse. I can't lie, I won't lie. The reason I won't lie and can't lie on here, because I believe, well, first and foremost, I know it's me that's got to turn the camera off, have a word with myself when I go to bed, and go, Justin, why did you lie? Why were you too embarrassed? Why did you distort the truth? Why did you embellish that, Justin? Or, why did you dilute it? I'm the sort of person that would actually dilute things. I'm not in the habit of artistic licensing and embellishment, exaggeration. I'm the sort of guy that might tone down or dilute a story, actually. But I believe I'd be insulting your intelligence, dear viewers, if I came on here and went into children's TV presenter mode and was like, hey guys, it's Justin House with TrueHouse, blah, and did all that shite. There's plenty of channels for that, and I know I'm very flawed, I know I'm very verbose, I know I'm getting all sorts of things wrong, but if you haven't sussed it already, these are extremely unscripted. There is no script, never done one, and yeah, my wheelhouse here, if you like, for want of a better expression, is that, couple of phones, an Apple and a Samsung, and away I go, and I just go with it. So, God, my eyes look shocking. I was up. I actually haven't been to bed. It's like, whee! Well done, Justin. I stayed up last night till certainly 5:30, playing with these microphones. I've moved on to a different, far cheaper boom arm. The boom arm is what supports the mic, and I basically found a way. Maybe soon I should start pushing the cameras back so you see more of me and more of what I'm speaking into. But really gave myself a real kind of sense of achievement. I've managed to acquire a couple of very articulated monitor arms that I've basically hacked, if you like, to accommodate not a monitor but a microphone. And I don't want to go too deep because it's a technical piece of information that will probably bore the shit out of you. But when you do, I'll mention a Joe Rogan experience. When you do jump onto YouTube and look at someone as big as Joe Rogan, and you look at what's in his studio, what is he speaking to, what is that microphone on, and these items are into the hundreds and certainly the thousands of dollars and pounds, and I don't have that budget. So I'm the guy that will go on Bezos Basics, as I call it, Amazon, and for $29.99 and £80, so it's cost me, 29.99, 30 quid for the arms, and £80 per microphone. So as an exercise with the funds I have, I've managed to achieve that look of a higher end stream / podcast for an absolute fraction of the cost. So maybe I should tomorrow just get these cameras back a little bit so you can see a bit more of what I'm actually using here. I'm so proud of myself because I'm just, it's a nice system I've made with it's sturdy and stiff, just the way I like it. Anyway, so look, I feel what I've said. Actually, can I say one more thing about the COVID thing? First caveat, again, I'm no doctor, but whoever's watching me on Twitch, thank you, by the way, because it is showing me that there's a viewer there, and I'm really, I don't know what the rules are with swearing. I tend to not be potty mouthed. When I began this live stream 406 episodes ago, this is episode 407, the COVIDsation. When I began this, I started in lockdown, and I've been doing this, well, quite honestly, for oh gosh, what's the word? When you're doing it to help yourself. Oh, Justin, cathartic, yeah. So just to let you know, especially a new Twitch viewer, which I do appreciate. I mean, please spread the word, because I'm a fan of Twitch, and I love watching people like Destiny do super heated debates. I'd love to get into debates, love that. Yeah, cathartically doing this. I've been, as our government in the UK calls people like me, because we all love an acronym now. Society's become one big acronym. A KEV, a CEV, and a CEV, and I call it KEV, even though it's a C, not a K. A KEV here, a CEV, is a clinically extremely vulnerable person. So in their infinite wisdom, our UK government has sent me no less than 15 letters. Our National Health Service, because I don't know if my viewer is American or English. I hope you're American actually, but I don't know. Happy wherever you're from. I'm just happy to have a viewer on Twitch, because I want the Twitch thing to go, to grow. Yeah, it's for cathartic reasons I began this, and of course once our UK government had decided to compartmentalise me, we're talking the rules of intersectionality and compartmentalisation, just to fracture up society some more. But I was very potty mouthed. I used to use a lot of expletives in this stream, and I guess at an algorithmic level with the likes of Susan, Wicked Witch of the West, Wachowski's YouTube, and minions like me streaming on her service, on the YouTube service. It's like, watch your P's and Q's and don't swear too much, because that's the gist I get when I do watch people on YouTube and other socials. They try to not swear too much. I digress. So that's really, once I'd realised that our government had decided to call me a clinically extremely vulnerable person because of all my plethora of medical problems. My cornucopia. There's a word. My cornucopia. I'm just thinking of words. My smorgasbord, there you go, smorgasbord of medical shit, cornucopia of chemical problems and plethora of physiological, whatever. I'm just trying to be smart. But yes, I've got such an extensive sheet of medical problems, and that the government, our National Health Service, the NHS, have obviously deemed me clinically extremely vulnerable person. Obviously, I'm registered disabled, etc., etc. So you stay in and shelter, Mr. House. So that's what I've been doing. So far, so good. Touch wood, haven't got COVID. I test myself with a rapid antigen test, the RAT test, every other day. Do the 10 thing up there. Lovely. So yeah, Joe Rogan's got COVID now. Found it interesting. Kind of despaired a little bit that someone with a platform the size of Rogan gets instantly. I knew it. The CNNs of the world, these just utter buffoons like Brian Stelter on CNN and Don Lemon. They're going to descend, aren't they, on Joe Rogan? Because of course Joe Rogan has a huge organic audience. A dear friend of mine up in a part of England I used to live in near London called Croydon. He put me on to Joe Rogan years ago, although I was aware of Joe Rogan from UFC and stand-up comedy, etc. But he introduced me to Joe Rogan Experience. I didn't even know what podcast was. We're talking in 2010, 2011, so it's a good decade ago. And I've been a fan of Rogan's ever since, and I used to watch Rogan when I was dialysing, so having my dialysis for the 4 years pre-kidney transplant. Anyway, the COVID thing with Rogan publicly announcing that he's got COVID, the dishonesty from the major news channels was, you know, the great Joe Rogan has COVID finally. You could almost, it was almost palpable. You could feel the glee, you know, whether it's the Washington Post or the, you know, HuffPo or whoever these sort of left-leaning, well, just again, it's such an ideology. It's such a, you know, and Joe Rogan's Instagram post said, look, you know, I've got COVID, I tested positive, we're chucking the kitchen sink at it, monoclonal, whatever, antibodies, and he also mentioned ivermectin, and, you know, as if Rogan, with all his millions, is going to go out and source himself veterinary ivermectin. And it was the rising, the hill, you know, the people that are now doing the job that Sargar and Crystal used to do. Sargar and Crystal from the you know, rising, and they've gone off and made Breaking Point, which I think is a better, it's an independent sort of news channel. So they are just trying to basically push back on the propaganda, and of course the level of dishonesty was, and as we speak is occurring, the attack, the dogpiling attacks on Joe Rogan taking horse whatever, and I thought, here we fucking go, you know, Joe Rogan, a man who keeps himself super healthy and has been pushing for the last 18-20 months, for God's sake, you know, how about literally the magic wand of fitness, just getting America's numbers to anyone, you know, first and foremost is just be lighter, be fitter, be leaner, drink water, exercise, move, sunshine, vitamin D, just eat well, do you know what I mean? And it shows the level of I think it's I won't go too long because an hour of me monologuing is enough. 52 minutes so far. The level of propaganda, it's analogous to Follow the Yellow Brick, the Wizard of Oz. You know, it's like, oh, the Emperor has no clothes, or, you know, you look behind the curtain and you see how minuscule the wicked emperor, you know, the wizard really is, and it's akin to that, isn't it? It's like you look at a government, our government in the UK, your government in the US, you know, and the trickery, the trickery, pokery, the propaganda. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Hitler's mop minister of propaganda, Joseph Goebbels, would be like this, wouldn't he? Because that's the level of propaganda that's being committed. And anyway, look, enough. I'm going to go. That's an hour nearly. That's 53 minutes. I enjoyed that. I hope you did. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's been okay. Felt okay. I'm going to work harder at fixing that sloppy camera. Thank you, whoever you are. Thank you for joining me on Twitch. I mean, may I be so bold as to ask you to spread the word? Whoever that is, I don't know who it is, but I've had a person watching on Twitch all this time. I am being thick. I don't know how to find out who, but thank you for staying. Thank you for, because I'm very attracted by the Twitch thing. You know, I will quite happily rinse an hour or two a day watching Stephen Bonnell, Destiny just really go at it on Twitch, and I think that's, you know, again, it's a departure from Instagram, Facebook. I don't know. I like it, but thank you. All right. So we're back tomorrow night. I'll go a bit more Afghanistan tomorrow night, okay? So that's the COVIDsation, that's where we're at. Rogan's got it, you can't say ivermectin. The bloody, the AP, the Associated Press immediately piled on Joe Rogan taking horse ivermectin. Do you really think Rogan's going to be taking horse ivermectin? No, a good generic ivermectin has been around since 1975. Shut up, it's fine, okay? Just, oh. That's when you think about the agenda. All right, I'm going to go. Conspiracy theorist I am. Okay. Thank you for joining me. I'll be back tomorrow night. Same time, same place, same face. How do I turn this? Okay. Right. See you soon. Cheers. How is that done? No. Oh, okay. Always have to fool around a little bit with.
She's talking about Sol, Leo, and go just chill in front of the corner store, all right, or some shit. I'll go back to the original.
Bit of a meh. We'll see. I've just done an hour on what have I done? I'm still going strong on YouTube. We are 57 minutes deep into YouTube. I've done an hour on Twitch. So number 3 tonight is ye old Facebook. It's almost like process of elimination, I feel, because it's like, hang on, let me move that camera back a bit. Oh God, I've hurt my shoulder recently. That'll teach me. That'll teach you, Jay. But it's, yeah, I almost feel like it's process of elimination insofar as, and I appreciate that I did try it. I did try just pressing live on the gram, and it just said you are blocked from sharing any live videos. So I've, like I say, I've done Twitch, and I'm now trying to do a little bit here on Facebook. Shall we check the story about the Joe Rogan? Hey Google, has Joe Rogan got COVID?
I found some news about that. Here's the latest from NPR. Joe Rogan says he has COVID-19 and is taking in proven drug ivermectin following his diagnosis. The 54-year-old host of the Joe Rogan Experience podcast said he immediately threw the kitchen sink at it. That included a cocktail of unproven treatments. I also sent that article and 2 others to your phone. Would you like me to read the first one?
Yes, please.
Okay, here's the latest from CBS News.
I got COVID. Joe Rogan says he's using ivermectin, an unproven anti-parasite drug. For treatment, Joe Rogan has tested positive for the coronavirus. He announced in an Instagram video Wednesday. And he said that he immediately threw the kitchen sink at it, taking several medications including an anti-parasite drug that health officials have repeatedly warned should not be used to prevent or treat COVID-19.
Would you like to hear the last one?
Yes, please.
I found some news on that. Okay, last, CNN has this update. Joe Rogan, controversial podcast host,
says he tested positive for COVID-19. New York, CNN Business. Joe Rogan, one of the world's highest paid and most influential podcast hosts, announced Wednesday he has tested positive for COVID-19 and said he'd embarked on a fringe treatment regime.
That's all I have for now. You can find links to the full text of the articles on your phone.
Thank you, Google. So, you know, the great Joe Rogan. Anyone that knows me knows that I am a fanboy of Joe Rogan. Probably a bit of a man crush on the Joe there. It's a little bit like the kind of. I just think what happens. I can only speak for myself, but I think what tends to happen with a lot of men, and like I say, speaking for myself, is that we look to. God, that camera is awful. Father figures or uncles or people that we could relate to, people that we'd like to hang with, people that you'd appreciably have a drink with and perhaps a little cuddle, Oh, you see, I've just seen that frickin' Prince Harry calling out COVID misinformation. That's a stab at Joe. That's a stab at Joe. Why has Prince Harry couldn't be more uncool if he tried now. He's going to have this little back and forth with Joe Rogan. I think Rogan is harshly just judged, and it's the level of presumption, it's the level of, again, stereotypical, archetypical, compartmentalizational, intersectional, every other, it's like, well, actually, I replayed an Edward Snowden interview / exchange between Snowden and Rogan. That's a good one, isn't it? Snowden and Rogan. It might have even been as recently as yesterday, actually, when I was doing my bike in the corner. But it was Snowden and Rogan talking. It's the first time Rogan had Snowden on his podcast, and in doing his preparation for it, Snowden said, I'm a massive fan of Edward Snowden. I think what Edward Snowden did is true. It's truly heroic. Oh, and that's just as an aside. I recently heard, I can't think who, this person, whoever it was. Oh, actually, it was during the 9/11, the new 9/11 documentary, 5-part documentary series on Netflix now called Turning Point. It's very interesting, actually, because it examines 9/11. Because now we're 9 days or 8 days on from the 20th anniversary of, and it was examining what 9/11 meant or means to numerous people, and there was one of the firefighters on there who referred to heroes and sheroes, and I thought, no. Why actually do that? It's actually insulting to women. Oh, you're a shero. Yeah, don't. It's like pitying coloureds and and pitying. It's just so I don't know. I don't know. It's so it actually undermines them. It makes them. When I say them, I mean black people or women. I think it's insulting to their intelligence, isn't it? Because you're making provisions, accommodations, and you're actually making them a protected group, aren't you? So the minute you say, oh, we're doing this for the girls, or we're doing this for the coloured people, you are creating a protected group at a societal level. This is not right. But nonetheless, this big old bird, this fire crew chief, star, whatever, you know, she was like Arthur, all the heroes and the sheroes. I wasn't aware, I wrote it down, I think it's 433 or 403. Let me check, I'm going to check my yellow legal pad. Hold on, because it's an interesting statistic, it's only in the kitchen. It's the actual number of first responders lost in one hit in American history, and it's the biggest number ever. But why can't they call them heroines as well? Why heroes and sheroes? Hold on. I've got it. I know that camera's an awful angle. Hang on, let's see what I can do with this thing. So what happens when you've got a knackered gooseneck array? They don't even sell any more on Amazon. They're almost products that we don't know when we're getting this back anytime soon. I wrote it down. September 11th. Because you've got to remember, guys, I was there, and when I say I was there, no, I wasn't there in New York. I was in America. I was on the West Coast. Couldn't be safer. But let me tell you, it was surreal, and it has stuck in my mind for the following reasons. I was alone that day, and what I was doing for work at the time, I was doing a bit of PT. When I say a bit of PT, I mean, you know, like 5 clients a week, like a little bit of PT. But my actual job was a doorman, security, at an establishment called 4Play, the number 4, then Play, run by a lovely chap called Oliver. He was German, and he would only employ European doormen. And this was well, I was 28 at the time, 29, so like 20 years ago. I was living in Venice Beach, and well, you can tell the date. It was 9/11. I think if memory serves, it was a Tuesday, and I was living in it as actually I'd broken one of the rules. The rules, because it's a strip club. I need to be clear. It was a fully nude club. I had a mad crush on a girl called Kathy from Buffalo, New York. I gotta be honest, she was, I don't really, but she was divine actually. Messed up in the head because they're going to be, strippers are going to be. Her stage name was Heaven. Stage name was Heaven, but her actual name was Kathy from New York. Buffalo. Is Buffalo New York or New York? I don't know. Is it Buffalo, New York? Anyway, but that's is Buffalo in New York or Buffalo outside New York? But right. The reason I mention it is because although it's a 20-year-old thing and we're 8 days away from the anniversary, I was living on 15th Street, just off Santa Monica Boulevard. I had a mad crush on Kathy. We were together, but not together. Like I say, stage name Heaven. And she was the top gal. I mean, these girls were earning sort of $1,300, $1,500 a night. And the only rule that the owner of the club, Oliver, said, and he wouldn't employ American doormen. It was a great job. It was a great gig for me, actually. Of all the security jobs I've ever done, it was the most fun because Foreplay had a discernible reputation in the Los Angeles area. We had good clients walking in, good, I won't drop names, but we had some good proper big names arrive. And because it was fully nude, California law, for those that, well, there's no reason why you would know, California law for fully nude clubs is no alcohol. Them is the rules. Very sensible rules too, I might add, because topless, you can have alcohol. You put men, testosterone, booze around topless, you're going to have some fisticuffs. When they go fully nude, I mean winking, fully nude, you know, nothing left imagination and lap dancing. Obviously, there's a strong team of doormen, of which I was one, and I was put on the front door as a communicator. I was working with Germans and Belgium and French and Lithuanian and Russian, you know, really good bunch of guys, but the rules were no American doorman, no American doorman. So being European, I was given a job and I looked the part. It was a good time, right? And Oliver said, look, Justin, you'll get on fine here on two conditions. You know, you never work high, don't come into work under the influence. I just, you know, because Oliver, he's a bit of a legend in Los Angeles. I mean, you can Google this guy. Oliver, you know, he was aware that his door staff, you know, being body, because, you know, this is me when I was 28. He was aware that his bodybuilders would be using some chemicals, but so long as you came, hello mate, you know, so long as you came to work not, you know, or weren't using drugs at work, fine. You know, so he didn't mind that, and it was a non-violent club. The beauty of having not an alcohol license, and that's where Californian law was a real breeze, because the simple guidelines, and they remain to this day, you can't have fully nude women with everything showing, beautiful, and booze. You know, that is a recipe for disaster, isn't it? You know, and testosterone, you know, it's just not good. I mean, like occasionally, and I mean occasionally, like once a month, we get, you know, with the wife beaters on, you know, the Mexican, the essays coming in, you know, the gangbangers. And yeah, it's a little bit of brown trouser moment for me, because I'm like, of course they've got guns in the glove box, of course they've got a gun in their cut-off shirt, of course, you know. I was like, God, Christ. You know, so, and I'd been taken a couple of times to the Los Angeles Police Department shooting range. Funnily enough, I've still got my Bin Laden target to this day, because, and like I say, I was working at Foreplay as a real job. It was about $600 a week. It's pretty good, and my teaching out of Gold's Gym. So you know, this is a 20-year-old thing, right? This is, and I was living with Kathy, stage name Heaven. And she was divine, and I understand now why the club's owner Oliver said there'll be no fraternising between the doormen and the dancers. Doormen and dancers, never the twain shall meet. Those were the rules, because inevitably, it would lead to jealousy. And he was right. He knew best, because once a doorman like me starts to date one of the girls who's either up a brass pole or grinding on some bloke's lap, let's be quite honest, there's going to be a point, and of course every single song was 3 minutes, and the DJ would do the records, you know, this is Heaven coming out to Nickelback, you know what I mean, you can imagine, right? We're talking, this was 2001, this is when 9/11 happened. And long story short, I remember waking up that day like any other day, beautiful sunny LA day, you know, I'm living the dream, man. I'm in my second year. As far as I was concerned, I was going to live and die in LA like the film. I was like, this is it, this is it. You know, if only I'd had the mentality at the time that I have now, if only I'd had the maturity, frankly, the maturity to see it through, I wouldn't have come back after those 3 years. I would have stayed. And yes, I got married to Lisa in Vegas, another girl. But anyway, I digress. I'll finish the story. It was a Tuesday. I mean, someone please fact check that. In fact, hey Google, what day of the week was 9/11 on?
The 11th of September 2001 fell on a Tuesday.
Okay, well, thank you. It was a Tuesday. There you go. I just googled it. I felt it was. So I think the only night I had off work was the Sunday. I either had a Sunday or Monday off, but I worked 6 days there, and I got into work. I woke up on the Monday. We worked till sort of 4 a.m. And these girls, like Kathy, who I was living with, Heaven, they were earning good money. They were earning, like I say, $1,300, $1,500 a night. So I would go to the ATM. I'd drive, and part of the condition of me living rent free with the beautiful Heaven with Kathy was that I would just really be her security. That's the. She never outwardly said, "Hey, big guy, can you be my?" Obviously, I was fiercely into my bodybuilding then. When I had muscles and hair, and I lived with her, and she always. She always, this is going to sound so creepy, she always smelled like peach, like almond, like Timotei. She was a smoker. I was a smoker at the time. I was smoking menthols and proper cowboy cigarettes, red Marlboros. So either menthol or Marlboro. Oh God, it's amazing what I've erased in my memory. Anyway, I lived with her. It was fun. I understand why the club's owner said there'll be no fraternising between doormen and dancers, because it will go wonky, and he was right. She had a little teacup applehead chihuahua. We'd go to the cinema. She'd bring her little dog in a handbag. You get the picture, right? So anyway, I woke up Tuesday morning. I'll give you an idea of the time, guys. This was hello there. Nice to see you. To give you an idea of the, apologies for this, I've just done an hour on Twitch as well, so still banned from Instagram, no more ban on Facebook. The fact that it's working means I'm not banned, but I'm still banned on Instagram, and it's working YouTube, Facebook's working, and Twitch has worked for the last hour. Had a couple of people on Twitch, which is nice. Anyway, and this is episode 407, by the way. The Arnold Schwarzenegger film Collateral, it was just, or was it called Collateral Damage? Was it, hey Google, Arnold Schwarzenegger film Collateral Damage?
Collateral Damage is a 2002 film directed by Andrew Davis, starring Francesca Neri, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Cliff Curtis.
That's it, Cliff Curtis was the baddie, and Cliff Curtis was in True Lies too, thank you. Okay, so you just heard, that's 2002. Well, obviously September 11th was 2001, but this has been brought forward, and I remember, I think it actually landed in the, bear in mind we're talking September 11th, 01, and I think this came out December 01 or late 2002, because it was due in 01 and they postponed it, and the reason why I thought I was seeing trailers, previews on the morning of 9/11 was because of the explosions. Let me explain. I'm living off Santa Monica Boulevard, living with this stripper, living the dream. I'm not embellishing that. That's my day. It was fucking, excuse my French, it was amazing. It was amazing. Holy shit, Justin. Oh, God. It was amazing. But like anything in life, you don't really appreciate it when you're in it, do you? You walk around and go, oh, this could be better. No, it couldn't be better. It couldn't be better. It never rained. And when it rained for an afternoon, and it was a monsoonish downpour, and it was warm rain, by the way, in LA, the steam off the concrete, because it was warm, it would piss it down for half a day, it would stop, and you might get it again in 9 months, if you were lucky. that was Venice Beach, and I would go. Oh. You know, Kathy's conditions for me living with her were to turn a blind eye to the fact that she was hooked on Valium and SSRIs. But, you know, I couldn't talk. I had my bloody addictions, didn't I? I wasn't pure. She smelt like soap. She was an amazing creature. Funnily enough, I never slept with her. We would sleep together, but I never, you know, weird. I think she might have thought I was gay, but I was so, I was so impressed with this girl, and she was cuckoo. I mean, she was mental. She had like daddy issues and all that, but she was beautiful. And her eyelashes were that long, and they were real blonde. Oh, anyway, and she ended up going with a guy who was like 60, like bald but with a ponytail, looking like a bloke out of Dire Straits, in some lounge band playing Vegas at the Bellagio. I was like, okay, you do that. Anyway, so we're a good sort of 10 months I was with her. I don't think 9-10 months. Yeah, 9-10 months. Oh God. So anyway, I'd look after her and her dog, and also every night. This, by the way, this girl, stage name Heaven to the stage, because every lap dance was 3 minutes, because the DJ, when punters came in to foreplay, it was $20 per dance, and the dance was exactly 3. So no matter what the record was, you know, even if it was a long record, the DJ would, you know, slice the record down, fade the record out, so it was 3 minutes. And she was doing, you know, so you think about, I mean, what there's 20 lots of 3 minutes, isn't there, in 60? Yeah, of course. So if a girl is busy, she's going to do between 15 and 20 lap dances, grinding on your lap, an hour. So that's 400 an hour right there. That's what a lawyer earns. That's what, if you went to London now and asked for an American visa immigration lawyer, they're 500 to 800 an hour. Come on. And this is 2001. Oh, by the way, like I say, the reason I thought it was Arnold's film, the reason I mentioned Arnold's film was because I woke up and because I was obviously working till sort of 3:34 each morning from foreplay. I'd come in, I'd always stop off at Jack in the Box or Taco Bell. Oh my God, Jack in the Box and Taco Bell. I used to collect the little oh God, Taco Bell, man, Taco Bell. Their chicken wraps, Taco Bell, 3:34 in the morning. Oh fuck, I miss it. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I miss it. I miss it. I can smell LA now. I can smell it now. Driving down, you know, driving down Pico and then taking a right onto Washington, then onto Lincoln, and ending up at Santa Monica Boulevard at 4 in the morning, and it's quiet and it's warm, and there's the Hollywood sign, and there's 15th and Santa Monica, and that's where I lived. And I was like, this is it, mate. This is it. You're doing it. You're doing it. And this was year 2. Anyway, I'm not going to get all down on it. It's just like, it's the reality that it stained me. It stained me because I had it, and I you know what I mean? Anyway, so wake up Tuesday morning, and I see on the CNN and ABC and MSNBC and MSM and Fox News, you know, I'm like, and I just see these. Well, by then the North Tower got hit first, and the South Tower was second, right? Yeah, South Tower was second. Yeah. Anyway, memory. Building 7. All right. So, hold on. You know, those buildings only stood for what, an hour and 40. And I remember watching it because I'd woken up and Kath had taken the dog out for a walk. Because don't forget, I would escort her to the ATM. She would complain when she only made $1,000. I was like, holy shit, Kath, I'm getting 600 a week. all right, plus tips, plus PT. So I was getting 9 on a grand, but I had to bust my balls to get it. And you know, Christ, I'd love to earn that now. But if she just got, and this is cash, by the way, this is cash. You know, if she just got like $1,200 or $1,300, she'd be like, oh, she'd throw a hissy fit in the car on the way home because her limit was like she had to have $1.5 grand each night to break even. Apparently, I was like, okay, whatever you say, Kat. Anyway, lovely girl. She was. And I just made sure she didn't get mugged. You know, what was I going to do? I wasn't carrying bloody firearms, was I? Anyways, so look, I wake up Tuesday morning, they were playing, I thought it was the news, excuse me, I thought it was an advert for Arnold's new film. And that's why subsequently all the this is true, you can fact check it, all the billboards around LA with Arnold's film, because it was about terrorism, and it was actually an Islamic sort of Muslim fundamentalist, you know, attack. It was Arnold against, you know, the Arabs. It was, you know, the whatever. It was pulled. They pulled the film. I'm serious. I'll never forget this. In the aftermath of 9/11. Arnold's film was delayed. You know, it wasn't a great film. It wasn't like Conan or Terminator or, you know, True Lies. It wasn't a high Arnold film, a high mark. But yeah, they pulled the billboards, and overnight I watched those billboards change. Now this is the thing about 9/11 that was palpable. Bear in mind, I was on the West Coast, LA. You know, I'm very much distant from it, but I love America and my American friends, and I drove to work that evening. I hadn't had a phone call from Oliver. My manager was Dirk, and he's a Belgian guy, and Oliver owned the club, and no one had called me to say on my Verizon cell phone. I had a Sprint PCS Verizon flip phone. Anyway, but no one had called me to say don't come into work. And this is on the evening of, right? So Justin. You know, by the way, I was doing all right. I got myself a black Isuzu Rodeo. Now, in America, a black Isuzu Rodeo is a long wheelbase black Frontera. So we're talking 2001. So 20 years ago. So go back in your heads, guys. 20 years ago for a black, you know, the new shape black long wheelbase. It was decent. It was a nice car. And I'd got an American chap I knew called Sean Lasley, who I lived with in Culver City, that's Studio City, right next to MGM and Warner Brothers and Universal. Oh yeah, he, lovely chap, gay chap, but he's got nothing to do with it. But he was minted, and he put the car in his name, and I just pay, you know, him, because I couldn't get, you know, we went to Nissan and Mission Hills and got that. Anyway, so I was like, yeah, I'm feeling it now, I'm feeling it. You know, I've got my own little black, I've got all the photos, man. I've got my black car, I'm living with this stripper, I'm like, fucking, you're doing it, man, you're doing it. You know, it was cool, man, it was really cool, Christ. God. So anyway, I arrived at work, I walked into work, and it was dead. It was absolutely, you know, normally you walk, because I was starting my shift, sorry about the camera, I was walking in 7:38, and we did have some big name clients. So I know I said I wasn't going to drop any names, but we did. You know, I got to meet, well, the low-level players, from Jason Patrick to Chaz Palminteri, all the way to Jack Nicholson and De Niro. And I have to say, De Niro looked dishevelled. De Niro came in with the collar up, the beard down, the shades on, the cap like this, and he mumbled at me with a very loose handshake. And that was fucking Bobby De Niro. Oh, and Rutger Hauer as well. So the big ones for me were Jack Nicholson and Robert De Niro. Jack Nicholson was actually hilarious. He was actually hilarious, like properly nice. Jack Nicholson came in with Chaz Palminteri. You'd recognise him if you saw him on like CSI and all that sort of stuff, and was in the Usual Suspects. Jason Patrick, obviously Lost Boys, you know, crime stuff. Oh, John Cusack too. John Cusack came down. Yeah, so De Niro and Jack Nicholson, they were the sort of, and you know, Rutger Hauer, obviously Blade Runner and The Hitcher, and the sort of IMDb Jack Nicholson and Robert De Niro reads like a who's who of cinema. So yeah, I was immensely humbled to meet these guys. And when I say meet, I mean a hi and a handshake. I have to say De Niro looked intentionally, but looked like an actual hobo. The management, the owners, Oliver had a call beforehand, like Mr. De Niro's on his way, you should just prepare your staff sort of thing. And he went around individually to pick who would be on the door. And because I was a good talker, a good diplomat, a good communicator, and English, because obviously I was working with Europeans, but from Russian Roland to Hans, obviously a German, and Hans was a son of a bitch actually, a big guy. In fact, Hans was in Dodgeball. You can see Hans in the Ben Stiller film Dodgeball. So yeah, he was good. It was good. Yeah, meeting De Niro was like, oh, fuck, you actually look like a tramp, it was weird. Anyway, it was cool, man, it was cool. And I walked into work that night, and what was our drinks manager called? Oh God, no. He looked like Fredo from, in Godfather 2, how wonderful actor, he's dead now. Fredo, De Niro's brother, Pacino's brother in, shit. With Dirk, Oliver and, Anyway, he had a little Honda car that had been to the moon and back. He'd done like 300,000 miles. He's like, needs a new cam belt. It's brilliant. And this is a great time. And the other thing I have to say, there are three groups, ethnics, Hispanics, Puerto Ricans, Mexico. I got on with these guys so well. I mean, for example, this is where I kind of turn my nose up at people that go, oh, fucking Los Angeles is full of, let me tell you something. Okay, it's 20 years ago. I left in 03, so all right, this is 18-year-old information, but I could trust, and when I say trust, I mean trust, like the Mexicans, the Puerto Ricans, like, here's a true story. Everything's a true story. To my brother this the other day, freaked him out. I was given by a very nice pro bodybuilder, a guy called Chris Cormier. He gave me a man clutch, like a Louis Vuitton bag. We became good friends. And he gave me, I don't know if it's real or not, but whatever, a nice Louis Vuitton man bag. And I'd just been paid, and I had $480 in it. And I dropped it on Rose and Hampton. They're the two famous cross streets outside Gold's Gym, the iconic Gold's Gym in Venice Beach. It is on Hampton horizontally, and Rose is the vertical street, and Hampton runs parallel to Main Street, and then you're the beach. So you're three streets, 3 blocks back from the beach, and Hampton does this parallel to Washington Boulevard, and Rose is the intersecting. Anyway, that's the layout of the land, and anyone who's been to Venice Beach would know that. Between Max Muscle, which is long gone, sad, but Max Muscle on the corner of Rose and Hampton, behind the iconic Firehouse restaurant, where I dined every day, which is still there. I lost, I had a mountain bike in Venice too. I lost it, I dropped it, it's gone, done. So somehow Justin Dickhead here, haven't really finished my 11th story, have I? Dropped this lovely Louis Vuitton man bag clutch thing from Chris between Max Muscle and Gold's Venice reception. I was like, shit, it's my ID, the keys to Cath's, $480 wages, and yes, personal drugs, yeah. Anyway, I just remember walking up and down the street. Well, I could run in those days. I was running too. So I was like, oh, this is horrible. This is gone. I go into the Gold's reception, like they knew me by then. They're like, hey, all they called me was like, hey UK, like hey London. That's because they just like, hey, it's UK. I was rarely called Justin. It'd be like House or UK or London boy. That was my nickname. Because I got myself into loads of drama, and I Yeah, I made an impression. Yeah, fuck it, I did. Yeah, I did. I got. They stuck me in Muscle Man. They stuck me in the magazine the first month. They're like, you can still see it to this day. It's like new Brit on the scene. 6'5", 290. And they stuck me in the magazine. Anyway, Max Muscle giving me clothes, and it was all good, man. It was an exciting time. It was my rise, right? Anyway, and I go to reception. I was like, shit, and they knew they because obviously I had my ID in there, I had my photo ID. I think the guy's name was Jason. He was the manager at the time. He's one of those incredibly fit. He could do single leg pistol squats with a completely extended front leg. Try a single leg pistol squat. Oh my God, you won't do it. You will not do it. He could. But he was a gymnast. And he jumped over the counter and he handed me my beloved Louis Vuitton man clutch bag with everything in it. Everything in it. The full 480 in dollars, in paper. The drugs, which were in an inside pocket, sealed. We're talking Eubank here, not just any old, it's not like, oi. Because you carry it with an insulin pin, of course. With the keys to carry, everything was in there. Everything was in there. I said, how? Jack, I said, how? Who? Wow. Mind blown. Because that would have really screwed me up. And he goes, that guy in the car park, and he pointed out, and there was a guy, I'm not joking, he was homeless. He looked like and was a tramp, a hobo. Excuse me, I ran out and I put $40 in his hand. And the bloke was like, oh, sir, I can't do that. I can't do the accent. But he's like, there's no problem. This guy's like, it's cool, brother. I was like, dude, seriously, mate, thank you. Just have $40, please. Because most people would have gone either gone, never to be seen again, or handed in minus the money. You know what I mean? So it restored my faith. And that's the other thing, he wasn't Caucasian, no, he wasn't, he was like an old guy, but Mexican, so personal experiences, my time, just under 3 years, with Mexicans, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, Filipino, in LA was very positive, very positive. I miss it, man. Anyway, look, I'll finish this story by saying goodnight on this note. I went in about 7:30, 7:45. I think my shift began at 8. I'm pretty sure I would go in there half an hour earlier, have a coffee, and there's a lovely restaurant there too, the lovely ground buffalo beef, So that was the great thing about LA. It's always buffalo beef, ground buffalo beef burgers, beautiful, beautiful. Multi-grain pancakes, beautiful. Anyway, I got in there and it was, you could hear a pin drop, because and the girls weren't dancing. A lot of the girls just said they couldn't dance that night, and there were no punters in there. The house lights were up, because normally you'd walk in, it's a strip club for God's sake. It's like, hey, welcome to foreplay. It's like, like the lights and the girls and on the pole, and it's all like smoky, because you could smoke in those days. There's no smoke, there's no alcohol, but you can smoke. And I walked in, I went to Dirk and Oliver, I was like, I can't believe this. And people were really upset. And he's like, go home, Justin, just, he's like, hang if you want, man, hang if you want, have a drink, open bar. And that was Oliver, he was the German guy, he owned it, ponytail, Ferrari, amazing. Good physique actually. But it was weird, it was surreal. So long story short, I drove home, I went down to, where did I go? I think I popped off at Jack in the Box or somewhere. Or In-N-Out, probably In-N-Out burger actually, but oh God, I do struggle with it. Because it's gone, isn't it? Anyway, and that was really it. I just remember that was I'll tell you what, I'm going to love you, leave you. There was, and this won't surprise anyone, there was a candle-lit vigil, because in LA then it wouldn't get dark till 9:45, 10. And obviously there's a lot of light pollution, that very sort of burnt, crisp, orange sky, that hue. and I was driving back. I think I took the long route. I sort of went more kind of towards West Hollywood, and went past my favourite gay bar because the Golds. What was that? Was that Sepulveda Boulevard? Yeah, the Golds there was fully gay. West Hollywood Golds was fully gay, and there was a bar, a club. I shit you not. The gay club. It was a gay bar. Motherload. That was the. I'm not joking. As the Lord is my witness, I'm not joking. The actual name of that nightclub was Motherload, as in mother. Yeah, there's blokes in leather chaps queuing out. Yeah, come on, it was proper like a den of iniquity. Anyway, yeah, it was Honk for America, and people sat on the street cradling little glass jars with candles in because of the effect of 9/11. So on that beautiful and sombre and sad note, I bid you good night. This is the end of episode 407. That first, I've done 100 minutes. That's a long time. I've been trying to keep this down to an hour. Because these are all monologues. I'm not talking to anyone opposite me. It's just me, myself, and I. Tomorrow I'm going to go more of the Afghanistan thing because again I'm not an authority on any of these subjects. I'm just a guy who wants to talk and is keen to talk and answer any of your questions. Nice to see you, Melvin and Keith. Nice to see you. Love to the families, both your families. Great to see you. I'm going to probably lie down now because I was up all night last night fixing these new wonderful boom arms. So I might start pushing the cameras back just to show you the splendour of the new boom arms that I have now that hold the mics. I've become a technical, whatever. Still all the gear, no idea. Right, I'm going to shut down. This one is YouTube. So good night, YouTube. Same time, same face, same place tomorrow night. Thank you. Do you want to stop stream?